Hello and welcome to the Runner's World podcast with me, Jen Bazon.
And me, Rachel Boswell.
So Rick and Ben are off on their holidays this week, so we have stepped in as the understudies.
Because every great show needs understudies.
True.
But anyway, today we are absolutely delighted to be joined by 2:34 marathoner and Lululemon athlete Anya Culling. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'd love to hear about, how you shaved 2 hours off your marathon time, which
Extraordinary.
I think we can all agree is an incredible achievement. So first, let's rewind a bit to 2019 when you ran the London Marathon for the first time. Finished time of 4 hours 34.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 years, 2023, you go to Copenhagen and then you run a 2 hour 34 marathon. That's a 2 hour improvement. So thinking back to the 2019 marathon in London, what inspired you to sign up and how was the experience?
Yeah, it seems a long time ago now. Back in 2019, I think I had lost a lot of confidence in myself. I felt a bit lost. I didn't have much direction and I wanted a bit of purpose for myself. So I signed up for the marathon as just literally on a whim, as something that I could train for, something like I can dedicate my life to and just give me a bit of structure. So I didn't do much training. I didn't know what I was really doing. I don't think running on social media was as big then. I didn't know any runners. I didn't know you could be a marathon runner really. I just saw people doing it for charity and I thought that would be great. So I got a charity place and thought I would give it a go, and it really was the most painful marathon I've ever done, and I've done 12 now. And it was so hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Immediately afterwards though, despite the pain, did you think, I want to do another one? Like, what was it that made you think you want to go again?
Yeah, no. I remember like people dressed as rhinos and like Big Ben and people with washing machines like passing me and me being like, how is this so hard? Like, I think I just went into it so naive. So I finished it and I think I said I would never do it ever again. Like that was a great experience, but never again. And then lockdown hit. And that's when, again, I found that feeling of like just being a bit lost. And I think it was a tough time for so many people for so many reasons. And I decided to go out for a few runs and I would call them my mental health miles. And again, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have Strava. I didn't have carbon shoes. All my first marathon pictures, it makes me laugh now. I've got like leggings on and wired headphones and I was eating like Percy Pig sweets. And now it's like everything I do is like so scientific and dialed in. So I found running again in lockdown and I remember getting like those endorphins again, and I remembered back in 2019 how proud I felt and like what that sense of achievement felt like, and I think that was kind of the feeling that I was looking for in lockdown. So I just started running again and I actually really enjoyed it, and that's because I think I found this sense of like freedom with it, and I realized it didn't all have to be hard, and running was actually like giving so much to my life at that point rather than taking away. And so I just fell completely in love with it.
Love that. Yeah. And as you say, like running isn't just about performance, it's about like enjoyment, and you get so much from it. Obviously, as we know, in 2020 there aren't any races going on really, but we do know that in 2021 you ran the Manchester Marathon. You got an incredible time of 3 hours and 5 minutes, which is like an hour and a half quicker than what you did in London in 2019. And you sort of talked about getting back into running and like your mental health miles. But performance-wise, what made that shift?
Yeah, it's such an extraordinary jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, there actually is no secret really. I didn't know I was going to do that well in Manchester. My parents didn't even come watch because I think they just thought, oh, she's off for another run. Like they didn't expect me to do well. And I think I almost was like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just like me going for a Sunday long run. But the time was never important to me. And I know that's easy to say and some people say it and they might not mean it, but genuinely, like it was so secondary, my improvements. So because we came out of lockdown, I started going to run clubs and running became such a social sport for me. And I would or even before we came out of lockdown, that like 1 hour of permitted exercise we're allowed. That was what I really looked forward to. And I built all these friendships. I met my boyfriend through running. Like, I just wanted to be able to run every few days. So I think the thing that really made the difference was my consistency. And that was because I wanted to show up every few days. So it was this like fine balancing act of like doing enough training and working hard enough that I could keep up with the boys and the people I wanted to train with, but not doing too much that I couldn't then run 2 days later when there was another big session to do or another like big long run to do. So it was always that fine balancing act. And I think that helped me not overdo it, not burn out, not get injured, keep up this consistency and make that improvement.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people fall sort of guilty of that at the start when they get into it and they're so enthusiastic and they always want to do it every day, but actually like being disciplined and having those days off is important.
Very like sensible approach, because I think people forget that like rest days and recovery is actually part of your training as well, and it's so important.
Yeah,
I want to like, I always say that to so many people, but you need those rest days for your body to absorb the training. Otherwise, you're just building up more and more fatigue. And don't get me wrong, I didn't know what I was doing back then. So this has all been a learning curve for me too. But I think I've been close to like burning out in the past, and I've always had such an amazing support network and friends and like Lululemon supporting me now that I always, like people are always looking out for me, and they can tell me if I don't know, just to be like, okay, take a step back now. You're not training for a marathon. You don't need to be going all full ham. Like, it's okay.
You definitely need that sometimes.
Yeah.
So going back to 2021 then, so that same year you ran Valencia, right? Yeah. And it was 2:52.
Yeah, you're telling me. They all blur into one now. But yeah.
Was the kind of going sub 3, was that quite kind of pivotal to your sense of kind of self-belief in terms of what might be possible for you?
Yeah, definitely. I do remember being like, okay, project sub 3. I think I still had a bit of imposter syndrome, and I thought maybe I was just lucky because I didn't know any marathon runners or anyone that was like improving at such a rapid rate that I almost felt like it was, I was a one-trick pony. And I kind of struggled with that quite a bit. And then when I did 2:55 at Valencia, that was like, oh, it's even harder to like back up good marathon after good marathon. So that's when I like really believed in myself. And when I realized that I was beating a lot of guys and running really well, I think that just gave me more and more motivation. And I think that's what made me think, okay, I'm going to give this a proper good shot now.
Be it confidence, the runner's high, or a sense of freedom. The more you give to running, the more it gives back. Whatever running gives you, Lululemon's performance apparel is designed to enhance that feeling and make you feel unstoppable.
From the lightweight construction of the Fast and Free running collection to the incredible energy return of the split shift running shoe, Lululemon's with you every step of the way. Shop now at lululemon.co.uk. So you had that success in Valencia, but then along came 2022, which was arguably your breakthrough year, dare we say. You ran a 2:43 in Rome in March. I've looked on Power Intent, like, I know. And then in London you ran the 2:36, which qualified you for an England best, which is incredible. 2023, you then wore that England best in Copenhagen, where you got your PB, and then again in Berlin. It's not every day that you earn an England best and the chance to run for your country. So how did it feel having that vest on and wearing it?
Yeah, you brought back so many amazing memories there. I think 2022 really did change my life. It was such a breakthrough year, and I never considered myself a marathon runner, and that was the year where I felt like I was, and I really deserved to be on those start lines and running with the people I was. I think I came first European, and it was my first like sub-elite race, and that's when I really truly believed that I could do amazing things then, and like all my self-doubts were like starting to dwindle, which was really great. And I had this huge confidence, and I think I was taking that confidence into every other part of my life. And it was that kind of trajectory and positive reinforcement that everything in my life just seemed like it was going well. And I remember saying, oh, I'm just so lucky. Like, I've always been a really lucky person. But I also do have to remember, like, I did work really hard and I trained a lot. Then, yes, after Rome, I did London, and I didn't know how well London was going to go. I didn't have a pace in mind, but my coach at the time did run it with me. And so he was just like, stick on me. And I think he believed in me again more than I believed in myself. And I remember crossing the finish line, and it was hard, but I loved every second of it. Like, I really absorbed all the energy from the crowd. It was so different to my first London Marathon experience. And then I just I tried to bawl my eyes out at the finish line, but I was so dehydrated, so tired. I had nothing left.
No liquid.
But that was the most proud I had ever been. And then I had no idea that how to qualify for an England best, like, that wasn't on my horizon or anything like that. And then I just got an email being like, would you like to be considered for the team? Wow. And obviously I was like, yeah, but I didn't quite believe it. I didn't want to jinx it. I remember telling my mum, but being like, you can't tell anyone, because like, what if it doesn't happen? And then, yeah, it wasn't until like literally I was in Copenhagen with an England vest on that it all was like, oh, this is really real now.
And then, kind of a really sort of out of body experience almost.
Yeah.
What do you think it was that kind of helped you almost improve so significantly in that 2022 year and just perform so strongly? Had you got a coach at that time? How did it all sort of come together for you, do you think?
Yeah, so I did get a coach, and I think having that structure really helped me. I would always say, having a structured training plan with variety, with all the different types of runs you need to like build every part of your fitness, like really, really helps. And it just stopped me ever like getting up out of bed and being like, what should we do today? I didn't have to think, and I could trust that someone who was an expert, someone who knew more than me, knew what I was doing, was helping me to get towards my goals rather than like a stab in the dark. That really helped. But I think I became a bit addicted to running. Like, everything I watched, everything I listened to, every podcast, everything I read became running. I'd watch all the athletic meets on YouTube and like stream them all. And the people I looked up to went from like reality TV stars to like Olympians.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And this was this whole new world that I didn't know existed. And I became, totally addicted to the feeling of like achieving more than I thought I could. And that's when I started saying, like, never limit yourself. Like, it could turn out better than you could have ever imagined. And so I went to every training session with that kind of in my head. And I worked really hard. And I think running doesn't have to always be about performance. Like, it brings so much to your life, and so many different people run for different reasons. But I did have to get used to getting comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Yes.
And nothing came easy, and I would work very hard. And I remember like people I trained with saying no one works as hard as Anya. But I also think what they kind of meant by that is like no one's quite as passionate and as consistent as Anya. And that's genuinely because I loved it so much.
That's incredible. And to have like that love for the sport, and like, you were addicted to it, and like just being inspired by other runners is so great. Obviously running by that point was huge for you, but what else was going on in your life, like professionally, and how were you fitting in training with everything else going on?
Yeah, so I had a full-time job through all of this. I was working in advertising. My lifestyle had changed a lot. Back in like 2019, 2020, I was pretty unhealthy. I'd found drinking, I'd moved to London, found boys. Yeah. And I think my focus has shifted a little bit as my running got better. So I'd never really like consciously changed my life. It was just the fact that I wanted to be a better runner. So I think I'd make these like little improvements, and I wanted to feel great, and I didn't want to be hungover anymore. So I would drink less, and I wanted to feel my body well. So all of that happened. But I transitioned from just normal advertising to sports advertising. And I think that was me slowly weaning
that shift.
my way out.
Yes.
And then within a few months, I was like, I'm going to go all in on this and see. And it's when the whole running boom on social media started as well, which I feel really lucky that I was like a part of. And that's when brands like Lululemon started to get in contact with me. They started working with me and sponsoring me before I had loads of followers and before I'd raced for England. And so I really felt like they saw something in me that I didn't yet know, and they saw this potential. And then after I raced for England at Copenhagen in 2023, that's when I officially signed with them, and that genuinely was the best year of my life. And that race was, the Copenhagen race, like putting on an England vest was just something I'll never forget.
Yeah. Incredible stuff.
It is. And then obviously the year after, you ran London on the elite start line. Again, that must have been another kind of like, wow, is this happening moment for you? How did it feel to be stood on that start line, and how was that marathon experience for you?
Copenhagen Marathon, I trained so hard for. And I think that was kind of what I mean by I was kind of like a bit too close to that red line of working too hard, taking it all a bit too seriously, because I got myself caught up in, you have to train like an athlete, you have to behave like an athlete, you have to be an athlete. Whereas now I realise athletes don't eat clean, athletes have a life. And I thought that was almost like me being lazy. And it just wasn't sustainable what I was doing for training then. Then London Marathon the next year, so that was my third time doing London. And I just said to myself, you've just got to enjoy this one. Because all the times I've done London, they've been such pivotal parts. So it was my first marathon, then my breakthrough marathon, and then this time I was on the elite start. And I remember being there, looking at these girls that I looked up to, being like, I can't believe I'm like standing on this start line with these elites. And yeah, my coach at the time was like, no, you are one of these elites. Like you did it to get here. And I realised it's so hard to get to the start line of a marathon, and that's the real journey. And once you get there, that's almost the hard work done. And that race is then the icing on the top of the cake. Like you've just got to enjoy it. Like you've done everything to get there, and now you've got to put your training to work and really show what you're capable of. I loved it. You
always look like you're enjoying racing and running. Like you're always smiling. Like you genuinely do look like you're having a good time.
100% agree, because I genuinely am. But I also have this theory, well, it's not a theory, I think it's science, that energy can't be like created or destroyed. It's just this transfer of energy. So I'm always like, the energy I give to the crowd, they'll give back to me like twofold. So if I'm smiling, and one of my mantras is like a smile a mile. So there's only 26 smiles, but they do last for the entire marathon normally. But I think I'm still just so grateful to be in the position I am and like living this dream that genuinely I love it. And then I hear someone shout my name, and I think back to 2019 marathon when I had Anya written on my top, but obviously no one knew who I was, but someone would be like, go on Anya, and I'd cry and be like, I can't do it. And this time it's like, go on Anya, and I'm like, this stranger believes in me, and so I better believe in myself. Like I'm like, yeah, go on Anya.
That's so incredible. Like London is, well, you said it yourself, London Marathon has been so pivotal for you throughout like your running journey. For a bit of context, like some people might not know, but the London Marathon is quite unique, and like the elite men and the elite women race separately. So you've gone from racing among like the London Marathon is now the biggest marathon in the world, like, and it's always been huge. You went from running with thousands of people to running in a very, very small field of very few, very fast women. Like it must have felt so different running through London with such a different environment.
Yeah. So that marathon, the elite field is hard. So they split out the men and the women, I think, to give women like more airtime, to promote females in sport and to give them the platform. But that did mean that I ran about 200 meters with the group because I wasn't quite like at an Olympic standard. So they very quickly ran off, and I was like, okay, so I've got 41 kilometers by myself on the streets of London, which is hard because there's less distractions, and there's all you can hear is your own voice, and it is easy for like a lot of doubt to creep in. But that's when I was very much like, no, you're only going to speak positively to yourself today. And since that marathon taught me so much, but I was like, I need to have other goals other than just time, because so many things in a marathon is so out of your control. They're so long, like weather conditions, just like control the controllables. But I was like, say the time goes out the window, I want to feel really proud of myself today. So my one thing was, you can be proud of yourself if you don't let a negative thought go into your head, or you enjoy every minute of it, or you race really hard and don't give up. And I've taken that on with me for all of my other marathons, being like, you need a time goal, great, but you need other goals that aren't an arbitrary number.
Yeah, that seems like such a good approach.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're right, with the marathon as well, you can wake up and not feel great that day. There's so many things that you have to all come together and be perfect on that day.
Yeah.
Which is why the marathon's so hard as well, because a 5K you could turn up and do like pretty regularly, whereas a marathon you can only really race once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to have that perfect day. So I think you've got to be a little bit kind to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a good message as well. It's like you can control like the positivity that you give to yourself and the credit that you give to yourself, because as you say, a lot of the journey isn't getting to the start line. Like it's like an iceberg, I guess. It's like the tip is the marathon and all the what's beneath the water is the training. So
just be proud of yourself for actually getting to that start line.
From parkrun to marathon, the Lululemon Fast and Free running collection is here to help you smash your goals.
With a lightweight, barely there feel and sleek, seam-free composition, every piece empowers you to move with comfort and confidence, so there's nothing holding you back from the finish line. Shop the Fast and Free collection in stores or at lululemon.co.uk now.
Thinking about you kind of being on your own for a lot of that race, do you enjoy racing and training with others? Do you find that gives you kind of a positive reinforcement? And
Yeah, 100%. I think that there's something to be said for like pack mentality.
Yeah.
I think it's within us back from like the caveman days that we'd be in packs.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as you're running with a group, that's an easy like 5 seconds a kilometre quicker. Like you just relax a little bit more. And I think it's so easy to be distracted by people, just follow people, and seeing people around you, you're like, oh, if they can do it and they're fine, then so can I. And it's that thing of, you can't be what you can't see. And I run with people all the time, whether it's run clubs, whether it's just training with my friends, with my boyfriend, even now like my work is running with my like Lululemon family. Like I hardly ever run alone, and that did make it really hard being alone because it was just a whole new experience. But I love training with others, and it just comes back to it being that social sport. Like it's not actually a solo sport, running, and back in 2019 I thought it was, and I was like, why would anyone want to do a solo sport? But you're not against the people you're running with. Like you're all striving for the same thing. You all want to better yourself, you all want to feel great, you all want that like endorphins and that runner's high, and it's so amazing when you can all experience that together and then go for coffee and then
and all feel amazing. That shared sense of
with a croissant as well.
It
always helps.
But the London running community is insane. Like I've never been anywhere quite like it. I think it's just so much like culture and vibrancy. It's like a cocktail of energy, and London Marathon really encapsulates that. And just the vibes of London Marathon, I just think I'd match from any other marathon I've done.
Yeah. Just the goosebumps. Even thinking about it, you're like, oh God, it's such an amazing day.
It's huge. So, and the whole city just stops for it as well, which is something to be said for a mega city. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And although like being on the elite start line, you said was a very different experience, quite challenging in different ways. That combined with your England vest, and did that sort of shape your ambitions and like boost your confidence even more? Like did that sort of make you think even bigger?
Yeah, well, almost, I feel like last year, 2023, that was a bit of okay, just enjoy yourself now. You are so young, you don't need to take it too seriously. Whereas this year, I've really pushed myself again, and I'm hopefully going to go for another PB at the end of this year, which I really, really believe I can do. And I've done it this time in a whole lot more sustainable way, and probably a bit of a healthier way, with less pressure, with more enjoyment than I did for that England vest, just because there was a lot of pressure that I put on myself because I was like, I'm representing my country, I've got to do everyone proud.
Understandably,
But this year, like, success has been a bit different, because whereas I judged my success on my running, because that was the main thing in my life in 2023. This year I wanted to kind of be successful with everything, like with my work, with my social media, with my friends, with my family, with my running. And I feel like I live a healthier life, and I'm so close to running the times that I was. I hope that back then I kind of proved that I was a bit like the girl next door, and you can go from nothing if you really love it, if you're dedicated, and you can run really fast. And hopefully that inspires people. But I think this time round, I want to show that, well, there's a lot of like societal pressures on women, especially in running. And I went through a bit where I lost my period because I was training too hard. I thought I had to be really lean. I thought, life was running and that was the be all and end all. Whereas this time I'm so much healthier. I am definitely not as lean, but I'm so much stronger and I'm more powerful and I have so much more like confidence and I feel alive. And I hope that I can like run a marathon time quicker than that, just with this like better, healthier, more sustainable approach.
Yeah, it's amazing how that kind of goes across all elements of your life. Like when you having that balance, I think that's also just such an important message, because I think recreational runners, see professionals and athletes on social media and think, I need to look like that.
And as you say, like especially for women as well, like we're women here, we sort of always sort of put ourselves under pressure, I think, to do X, Y, Z. So to actually hear that, oh no, balance is actually really great.
Yeah.
And that's what actually helps you to be successful and to like enjoy the process as well.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting you talking about having imposter syndrome, and because I think, myself included, a lot of people struggle with that, a lot of runners struggle with that. What would your advice be to runners out there who struggle with that feeling of not being good enough or kind of putting limits on themselves?
I just think everybody's on their own journey and you can't compare yourself to someone else. And it's so easy to look on social media and be like, they're doing so much. But also this world of running is actually, it's not even like a pond. It's like a tiny puddle. And it's this echo chamber of like, everyone's doing crazy challenges, everyone's doing more. But to the normal person, like the normal human probably doesn't even run, yet alone like run 5K, once a week. If you're doing crazy challenges, that is so beyond normal. So I think you've just got to have a bit of perspective to be like, this is where you've come from, this is where you're going, and don't put too much pressure on it. And yeah, I also think no one really cares that much. Like I was always like, oh, someone's looking at me, or I don't feel confident in myself. But it became so much more of, what my body can do rather than what it looks like. And just stop worrying about everybody else. Like I was on my own journey. And I think it's so hard to stay motivated through it all, but you've got to have, your reasons for doing it and really love it. But it is hard, but yeah.
Yeah, it's great advice.
And, like you say everyone's on their own journey, and that's totally right. And your journey is so inspirational. You weren't a kind of track star as like a youngster. You didn't have like running in your genes. Your parents aren't Olympians. You're a normal person who's sort of committed, dedicated, consistent, and has achieved amazing stuff and great happiness in the process. What do you hope that your journey kind of proves to other people who are perhaps a little bit like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't start running, I'm not good at, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I do hope I can leave some kind of legacy that, well, I do say it is cringy, but you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to do something great.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that's the same for everybody. And I do think working hard, you achieve so much. And if it came easy, like everyone would do it. So, and you feel that sense of achievement if you've worked for it. But I just want to be, kind of just like the girl next door and prove that hard work and dedication is needed, but you can achieve things that you never thought was possible. I think I did that in running. I'm now like dipping my toe a little bit more in triathlon. I actually did a triathlon at the weekend. I was so bad at the swim, like so bad. And now I'm like, oh, but I could really train for that swim and show people that, like, once again, if you train really hard and you really are dedicated, I'm like, oh, what like punchy target should I give myself for this time next year? Like, I'm very I'm very headstrong and I like pushing myself.
Yeah, we were going to ask you about that because we saw on your social media that you did the T100.
T100 in London,
Yeah. I think it's just a bit of fun triathlon at the moment, but it is also, so I do get a lot of satisfaction from putting myself in uncomfortable situations in the sense of like having to try really hard. And triathlon doesn't come easy to me. So I think being on that start line, I was like a fish out of water, literally, for the swim. And then the bike, I don't have that much experience, but obviously I have the endurance. The run I can do, but it was just a bit of fun. And I think also cross-training is a great way to improve your running, and it keeps things fun, it keeps things different. But yeah, I'm working towards the Valencia Marathon at the end of this year, ultimately.
The big goal.
Very excited. Yeah.
I've heard in triathlon like that there's the fourth sport, which is the transition.
Yes, I know when I did it, I've done a triathlon before, and when I did it for the first time, that bit really stressed me out. Actually, even going to find where your bike is, I'm like, how embarrassing if I actually couldn't find it. Like, it's all a bit anxiety inducing.
Yeah, that happened. The triathlons I've done. So when you come out of T100 London swim, for starters, like the water is so dirty, and I'm like, I've swallowed so much. And then they have people like stripping the wetsuits off you. And I didn't see this, but my parents were watching. And apparently they stripped us someone's wetsuit, and a girl hadn't put a tri-suit on underneath. And she was standing there like, oh my God, and they quickly covered her. But mine wasn't that chaotic, but I did come in with my bike in transition 2, and I just completely forgot where my stuff was and where my bike was. And I saw some friends luckily, and they were like, you're going the wrong way. So I had to completely turn around. Then I like sit down on the floor, have a breather, put on my socks, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm racing. Gotta go, bye. But it is fun. A triathlon's funny.
Fair play. Like just trying something a bit new and not being afraid to be like, I've never swum before, but I'm going for it.
And I'm not that great at it. Like I feel like there's no pressure, it's a bit more fun.
I love that.
The new Lululemon split shift running shoe is the balanced, lightweight trainer your rotation has been missing. Engineered to perform and made to feel.
With the brand's signature shift foam providing springy energy rebound underfoot, it flexes, absorbs impact, and keeps you pushing forward. All while remaining so light and comfortable you almost forget you're wearing it. Shop the split shift running shoe now, in stores or at lululemon.co.uk. Thinking about, we wanted to ask you about race day rituals. So is there anything that you like to do? Maybe you did it before the triathlon. Anything you like to do the morning before a race? Or is there any special kit that you like to wear? Are you superstitious about what you do on the day of race day?
Yeah, I'd say the morning of the race day, not so much. But my tradition is a few days before the race, when I'm calm, when I've tapered, I'm feeling great, I journal a little bit and I write down all the things that have gone well in training and all the reasons why this race is going to go amazingly. Because we all, the morning of the race, are standing on that start line, we're all suddenly like, oh my God, I can't do this. And it's like panic stations, like, and then I'm like, okay, no. But when I had a sound mind a few days ago, I really believed I could do this, and this was all the reasons why. And so I think writing those down when you are cognito really helps, when your mind's like scrambled and you're panicking.
That's such a good idea. Because on race morning, I mean, I like wake up and I'm like, oh no, I have to do the marathon that I voluntarily signed up for again.
I'll say to myself, like that morning I'll go, I didn't do that long run, or I missed that one interval session, and that's gonna like ruin me. It's like, that's just like so irrational. But like a few days before, you can think in a sensible way.
I feel great. Yeah, definitely. And then I think my race kit is super important. Like I have to look good, to feel good, to like feel empowered and feel powerful and feel my best. Yeah, I think that first marathon, I look back at the clothes I was wearing and they were chafing everywhere. But I love dressing well and feeling like, like I could conquer anything at the moment. When I feel really confident, I wear really colourful clothes. I love the like Lululemon fast and free split shorts. That's when I feel like most comfortable. And they're also like a second skin. There's no chafing. I feel like I look great, and that's one less thing to worry about. I also do like to do a few like beauty things before, just because it makes me feel great. Like when I've got time in the taper, I'll definitely like full body moisturize. I'm gonna dye my eyebrows. I'm gonna look good for the race photos.
Oh yeah.
I started fake tanning because Ali said she faked tan. I'm like, I've started doing that now.
That's such a good idea because like, I've never really considered it. And then you get race photos, and not only you like look bad, but you will look extra bad
So like, I've not shown my legs.
because you're running. And it's on a down step.
Yeah, always a
And you're
down
like-
step.
And then they're like, 80 quid, please. No.
Yeah, I remember like getting those first race photos from 2019 and I didn't want to post them. And now I'm so pleased. I actually think I bought the race pack like 2 years later because I wanted to do that comparison.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the time I was like, oh, people might not take me as seriously if they didn't think I've always been like a professional runner, but I'm so pleased I did that and I now have that perspective and, you know, I can look back and be like, 2019 Anya would be so proud. Because,
Yeah.
and I know it's like kind of big-headed, but like almost like that 2019 Anya really inspires me now.
Yeah.
And I think it's like she gave her all and she tried her absolute hardest when she didn't have any reason to. Like, it wasn't her life. No one was watching her. So now that I'm literally living my dream, like, I just want to make her proud as well.
Yeah. I think also because you didn't take up running until your 20s. I mean, people, I think we fall into the trap as runners again. I've not done it as a kid. I didn't do cross country at school. I'll never be able to do it. But it's like you're living proof. You can take up running in your 20s and get as far as you have. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Just didn't do it at school. I don't know if I would be running now if I had done it when I was younger. I think I might have taken it a bit too seriously too soon. And I'm pleased I had, you know, Lululemon supporting me and my family and friends, you know, to keep me motivated, to keep me healthy and to have like, be able to make those like mature decisions.
Absolutely.
Fallen into your life like they're just at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be. And you said you've obviously got Valencia Marathon at the end of the year, hopefully, fingers crossed, a PB. What else is on the cards, or what's your ambitions sort of before that or beyond that? Perhaps like another triathlon?
Yeah, I'm going to do a Great North Run. I'm going to go to Chicago for Chicago Marathon.
Love it.
But I'm just going to pace someone for that. I did think about racing it, but I just don't have time.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Then we'll do Valencia, London Marathon next year, and I would like to do an Ironman, but I don't know, because at the end of the triathlon at the weekend, I was like, that was so hard. Like, I never want to do that again. And then within like 2 hours, you're like, right, an Ironman next.
Also, that's how you felt at the end of
I
the
was just going to say, you said that after your first marathon, and here we are.
Here we are.
Exactly.
Oh, look out for your Ironman debut. That's very exciting.
Very exciting. The world is your oyster. So yes, that brings us to the end of the Runner's World podcast. Huge thanks again to Anya Culling for joining us.
Thank you.
And to the viewers and listeners for listening and watching us.
Yes, and thanks to Ben and Rick for trusting us with the responsibility of stepping in as understudies today. I think we did okay.
Yeah, we'll let Ben and Rick decide that. Yeah, I think so.
Before we go, if you haven't already, make sure you check out the Runners World Club, go to the Runners World UK website, hit the blue subscribe button and find out about all the amazing benefits you can enjoy as a Runners World Club member.
Benefits, you say? Well, if you want to find out more about those benefits and actually enjoy them yourself, stay where you are because Jen has got a little message for us.
If you haven't heard already, Runners World has got a club.
That's right, 30 years in the making, the Runners World Club is here to take your running even further.
And as our dedicated viewers, listeners and fans, let's say fans, we wanted to tell you more about it. So we've got a guest here to talk about it.
That's right, we're here with our friend and colleague Jen Bazon, Membership Director, to learn more. So Jen, tell us what exactly is the Runners World Club?
So Runners World Club is our best ever brand experience and gives readers access to a multitude of benefits, experiences and rewards in addition to receiving the print magazine every month. And a membership to Runners World Club really does give you everything you could possibly need to get fitter, faster and healthier.
You could do with a bit of that.
Me? Yeah. Does sound good actually, yeah.
Yeah. What do people get, Jen? What is included in a membership?
So we've got 3 different tiers of membership, bronze, silver and gold. And our gold membership is our sort of top tier, all singing, all dancing membership. And with that, you get access to our brand new training plan library via our reimagined companion app. You get access to award-winning training platform Final Surge, which gives you the ability to sync Runner's World plans with your training devices. So with your Garmin, Apple Watch, Sunto, Polar, whatever your kind of preference. And that means that you can follow training sessions in real time on your watch with guided prompts. So it saves you having to sort of memorise interval sessions and things like that, as it's all programmed into your watch. You also receive our monthly print magazine, our weekly Runners World Club newsletter, and you get full access to the reimagined companion app, where you can access discounts and deals from running and fitness brands, and you also get access to exclusive gold member only content. So it's jam-packed with benefits.
And there are these live events, aren't there? Spencer Matthews was seen on last weekend with Runners World, and Susie Chan. So tell us about those.
Yes, very exciting. So what we wanted to do with membership was give our members the chance to meet and get to know each other, as well as the Runners World team and celebrity guests as well. So yeah, we hosted our first event the day before the London Marathon with Spencer Matthews, Susie Chan at the Samsung store in King's Cross, and it was a lot of fun. We had 85 runners there, and we did a shakeout run and Q&A, and it was very exciting, and the feedback was brilliant. So we're already excitedly planning our next one.
Excellent.
Let's get into the guts of this. Training plans.
Yes.
It's going to be the main draw. Lots of people have probably used the Runners World training plan across their many years of running. What are the training plans looking like?
Yeah, so our training plans have been written by Tom Craggs, Robbie Britton and Georgia Wood, and we've produced this brand new library which you can get via the app, and they span from 5k to ultramarathon. And what's really brilliant is runners now have the ability to customise those plans according to their training preferences. So if you want to, say you've got a marathon coming up in 20 weeks' time and you're targeting 3 hours, 45 minutes, and you want to do 3 to 4 runs per week, you just put that into the filter and you'll be served a tailored plan. And in addition to that, every 4 weeks in those plans, there's the opportunity to kind of reflect on how your training's going and choose an alternative plan if it's not quite working out. So say that kind of 3:45 time goal was a little bit punchy, you can sort of change to 4 hours. So that self-reflection kind of ensures you sort of are following the plan that is actually right for you.
Right, I want in. How do I join?
So you can join by clicking the link in the episode description or searching Runners World Club and signing up via the Hearst Magazine's website. And it's priced at $9.99 for your first 3 months, which is an absolute bargain.
A steal.
That is an absolute deal.